Welcome to the Clarion Podcast, the official podcast of the Clarion, DU's school newspaper and the voice of the pioneers. For anyone new, this podcast will cover anything from campus news to student clubs to what's new in theaters. I'm Dustin Amick, and today we'll be using our first episode back to introduce freshmen to DU, what to know, where to go, and the why behind all of it. Next, we'll check in on Pioneer Sports to see how our teams are doing. Finally, we'll wrap up talking about the new horror movies in theaters. Jennifer Lawrence's new film Mother, and the Stephen King adaptation It. So our first section is for freshmen. Here joining me for this discussion is Chrissy Sharp. She was an RA her sophomore year, is a delegate on Pan-Hellenic Council, executive board for Chi Omega. She was an RA her sophomore year, is a delegate on Pan-Hellenic Council, is on executive board for Chi Omega, and is in 2 honor societies. Did I get all that, Chrissy?
Yeah, you did.
Great. So we're here to try and give freshmen advice for their DU experience, their first year. What is the most important thing a freshman should know coming into this school?
I would say definitely take school seriously and yourself seriously, but not too seriously, because you're still out here to have fun, and college is cool, so enjoy it while you can, but also make sure you're involved and actually committing yourself to a future that's worthwhile.
So you say commit yourself to a club or organization. You're in Chi Omega. You're a part of sorority life. What advice would you give freshman girls about sorority life and sorority rush, since it's coming up?
Recruitment.
Yes, recruitment.
Shameless plug. Do it. I think it's awesome. It's a really good way to meet people, even if you don't end up finding your home in a sorority. Because you get to meet people in your Rho Gamma groups. You get to meet people through the process. You get to meet awesome women who are already parts of chapters, and if you get to find your home, that's even better. The Pan-Hellenic community as a whole is super, super cool. They're all really nice, and I've really enjoyed it. So to all my freshman women who are going through sorority recruitment, just be yourself, have fun, be nice.
Yes.
Do it.
To build off that, being in a fraternity, being on the other end of it, with regards to the men's fraternity rush, it's way better than sorority rush, is what I hear, because sorority rush is much more of a marathon compared to. Let's be real. I know maybe there's some marketing issues with that, but fraternity rush, I mean, being on my end, I have to be fake nice all day. It's
Oh, wait, what?
It's the worst. I mean, we have pretty cool events. Fraternities put on some fun stuff. The freshman guys get to have a lot of fun.
I feel like fraternity rushing is a lot less weird, because you definitely have to girl flirt all day. So you have to when women walk in, you have to pretend they're literally your best friend, and you know stuff about them that you probably shouldn't know, but they put on their cards when they were filling it out, so you know things about these women, and so you're oh my god, you're from St. Louis, I'm from St. Louis, and fraternities, I feel don't do that. So
no, we have to talk and get to know them.
Yeah. Well, we have to get to know them too. It's not we just.
But you have cards to prepare yourself. I don't have index cards to study up.
No,
on
it's
people.
not index cards. They fill out the survey
Sure.
when they're signing up for recruitment.
Okay.
Do dudes not do that?
No. How we get to know each other. Well, I mean, how fraternity rush works is just you show up to these events, you bro out as hard as you can.
Okay.
Oh, that was awesome. Stuff like that, and then at the end you just vote I don't know if this guy was bro-y enough, or our type of bro.
Oh, our type of bro. Interesting.
Our type of bro, and
okay.
Then I mean, it's and do they respect women? And then they use that as a judgment call, which is a really good judgment call, but at the same time,
are they the right people to
exactly.
judge that?
It's do they respect women? Because I'm about to go fuck this bitch later. And it's okay, are you the best? Who are you to say no? I guess.
Interesting.
But I have a yeah, I have an interesting perspective on fraternities, I think, in general, but, I've never rushed. I've only been on the other end.
Okay.
But it is a lot of throwing out and a lot of trying to get to know people. And some guys are actually super enthusiastic and very nice. Which I'm like,
most of the women are super awesome
Yeah.
who go through. They're like really excited to be there and to meet you. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, this will
That's
be my
true.
first time actually recruiting because last time I was a row gamma and like probably was better at that. So sorry if I'm your recruiter. But it'll be great.
It'll be great. Okay, I guess we can move on from. Well, actually, no. I want to stay on this Greek life topic because, so, you know what? Okay, so we talk about rush process, but let's look at post-rush. Let's look at,
Post recruitment. Use the right words, Dustin.
recruitment.
Okay.
I'm not an official here. I'm a student and I'm being real. Let's
Okay.
post-recruitment.
Thank you.
That's so official, too official for Greek life or fraternity sorority life is
Thank
how
you.
they've rebranded it.
Yeah,
So smart of them.
it was.
I guess, what fraternities do females avoid? Is there a certain, or there's a party by Greek letters, insert here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a one that turns you off, or is let's go to this one definitely? Or these guys are nice?
Me personally, there isn't any single one that I avoid because I know good men in each chapter, but I definitely know that SAE didn't have the best reputation on campus, nor did Kappa Sig as far as women wanting to enter their house. I think Sigma Chi does pretty well as far as women feel really safe there. I never felt unsafe at any place that I went, but I definitely have friends who were like, why would you go in there? But yeah, I think it really depends on who your friends are, because my friends were in SAE Lambda, and so that's where I spent most of my time as a freshman and sophomore. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I can't necessarily say that there is anyone that I can think of. Yeah, no. I think for the most part, obviously there are individual men that people try to avoid, but I don't think the fraternity itself is the problem. It's stay away from that dude.
Okay, cool. All right, we can move on now. Bars. No freshman should be going out to a bar because I know for a fact none of them are 21. But I feel like there's a good amount of freshmen that go to bars.
I mean, if you're from Connecticut, wink wink, or South Carolina, wink wink.
If they're from some strange abstract state from the South that
the IDs are easy to copy.
They are totally 22. I guess which bars should they not go to? Because drinking underage is illegal.
You're definitely right. Don't go to bars if you're under 21.
But when you turn 21.
I guess
is
it even cool to go
when you turn 21, don't go to the border.
I know, I was going to say, because after a while the border sludge is a little too much, you know.
I went to the border my first time this past weekend. I am 21. And I never had a fake, and I never went to the bars. But I finally went to the border, and I guess I can see the appeal for freshmen. Or for underclassmen who want to go and mingle and look to... It's basically just this weird breeding ground. And so is CNG, but you just have athletes there instead. Which is, I guess, the preferable move.
I mean, I guess it just depends on, what you're trying to get accomplished for the evening. Nobody goes into border sober. Nobody's like, yeah, I could do the border sludge without being wasted. So, if you're just, here for a good time, I don't know, try them all. You're only a freshman once. It's only cool to walk around with your really disgusting feet in the border, a few times.
Yeah, definitely bring your least favorite shoes.
Don't wear white shoes. Don't wear white shoes. That is
Number
my
one. Yeah.
advice. Don't wear white shoes.
don't wear white shoes when you go out. You think, I mean, you totally look fly and you look fresh, you look good, but you're not going to in a half hour.
Yeah, it's gonna look so bad, and like border sludge does not come off.
It doesn't. It's a stain. It's permanent.
It's there forever to remind you of your evening.
Anyway,
Of legal drinking activities only.
Legal. Over
Legal.
21. Anyway, we can move on from that for the freshmen. What, I guess, who are the best professors that you've had? What best classes have you had? What can they look forward to? Or what are the best classes that you took freshman year, too?
Actually, one of the classes that I took first quarter of freshman year, it was, topics in sub-Saharan Africa, and it was super cool. If you're an international studies major, I would suggest taking it. I had a professor who was only here for a quarter, and he was so cool. He was like working on his PhD, and he had just gotten out of the Peace Corps like 3 years before and was stationed in Gabon. Anyway, he was there and absolutely like fell in love with African studies, and it was so cool because it's taught from a perspective that I like never got in high school. So I thought that was really cool because really the only thing I ever learned about Africa in high school was it was colonized and then you like move on. So I think it's a really good way to learn about a place that you wouldn't otherwise. And other than that, I really love Robert Utaro, Bob. He is awesome. He was my, I guess, research help professor. I don't know what you would call it. I don't remember the name. But I went to Kenya with him this past summer for a research project, and it was awesome. He's such a cool professor. Really, really good at his job. Really cares about his students. So it's super cool. And professors who are still here, I guess, is my problem. Most of my professors have left.
What's your major again?
International studies.
Oh.
Yeah. And then my minors are economics and criminology. So economics, I don't much remember my professors because I was just trying to, get through economics.
Yes.
Criminology, I'm in a crim class right now with Jeffrey Lynn, and it's an 8 a.m., so it's like super awful, but he's awesome. He can keep my attention for the whole 2 hours, so would recommend.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. On my end, well, I have minors in marketing and business administration. On the business side, for ethics and legal studies in business, I had Paula Holt, and she was fun. She's a divisive figure. I'm like, oh, I have Paula Holt, she's the worst. But I'm like, I had Paula Holt, and I am literally in love with her. So I guess people run hot and cold on her. I also had, for marketing, I had Michael Myers, and he is very fun. And and his classes are very modern and very topical, which I liked. I'm a film major, so I don't know how many film majors are out there listening, but film criticism is always an awesome class for anyone to take, and I think that feels like a common core curriculum thing, so definitely check that out. Anyway, let's move on to Pioneer Athletics. I love our athletes. Not because they get special treatment, because they do.
It's true. It's true.
Many athletes have gotten super drunk, taken to the hospital, and continue to have their scholarship. So if you're a non-athlete and you don't like special treatment, welcome to DU. But other than that, we have a lot of good teams. I mean, last year, hockey won the national championship. The year before that,
Lacrosse.
yes, actually 2
That
years
was our
before
freshman year.
Our freshman year, my
Yeah.
freshman year. So last year hockey won, and then 2 years before that, lacrosse won. And last year our soccer team made it to the Final Four too. So we have a pretty solid
Support
athletics
DU
program.
soccer.
Support DU soccer. We're actually not
Doing
that
so hot
well
this year.
We have like three home
They're still
losses,
really
and
pretty.
we've never
They're still really pretty.
really pretty. I think it's because Scott DeVos cut his hair. I think he needs to grow his hair out he needs that long mane again. I'm very superstitious. I think like his hair was their good luck charm.
Okay.
So
I don't know if I agree with that, but I'll let you roll with it.
What's your assessment of why they're struggling this year?
Dude, I don't know. I'm not the coach.
That's true. Well, they're certainly better looking than any team that they play.
It's so true.
Anyway, I don't know any of the younger soccer players. They're all very cute, but like they're small. We've had like a reduction in size of soccer players. I think that might be an issue. Height.
Interesting thought.
Our basketball team, if we want to let's move on from soccer, I guess. We've dwelled enough on them. Or have we not? I don't know.
No, I was just thinking I've never been to a basketball game.
Our basketball team
team.
It's a work in progress, our basketball team. Love them to death. I don't think they disagree. We're on the cusp of being like almost the best in our tiny mid-major conference.
Good to know.
We'll
Good
never
to know.
make a tournament unless we win the Summit Championship. And we're so close to winning the Summit Championship.
Oh, well, that's good.
We might this year's a possibility. Fingers crossed. But our basketball team is sort of a non-factor, unfortunately. Let's move on to lacrosse. I don't know anyone on the lacrosse team. My only experience with the lacrosse team is that I had like a few players in my class for a business class, and they all got kicked out because they cheated.
Oh my god.
They're still here.
Well, of course.
Sorry, lacrosse.
My only experience with lacrosse players was that, like, I guess 4 of them were my residents sophomore year when I was an RA. They were all really nice.
That's good.
Their room was beautiful when they moved out.
Okay.
But that was, like, my only interaction with them. I think one night, no, actually, definitely one night, I was sitting at the desk at, like, a 1 a.m. shift, and it was, like, a Thursday night, so, of course, people are coming back in.
Back.
And I was eating chicken tenders, and I was done with them, and so one of them walked in. I don't even remember who it was, but he was one of the lacrosse dudes. And he walked in, and I was like, "Do you want a chicken finger?" And he just took the box and, like, went upstairs with it. So that's really my only
with
interaction.
The rest of your food?
Yeah, but that was my only interaction.
Okay. Not a great impression, lacrosse team.
No, like, I was done. Like, you know.
Sure.
He can eat it. It's
Yeah,
2
made sure
a.m.
you
He
were
needed
done. He needed some
He
food.
needed,
He's
like, some nourishment.
He's a growing boy.
Well, no, I was more worried about, like, you know, you want to make sure you don't get ill.
Sure.
So
You
eat.
need some food.
Yeah, nourishment, you know.
Chicken tenders
Chicken tenders are the way to go.
are the needed nourishment here.
I think that's why everyone goes to Fat Shack, right? Because, like, that's solid,
Freshmen do not go to Fat Shack.
solid
Don't do that to your body. You're
refueling.
already. I mean, you will only go to Fat Shack after a night of filling your body with poisonous liquid.
Oh my god, why did you just call it poisonous liquid?
Because it's
devil
literally
juice.
It's literally something that could end your life. Real talk, freshies.
That is true.
Know your limit. But after a night filling your body with alcohol, don't fill it with deep fried.
Oreos.
Yes. Don't fill it with that.
Honestly,
gross
just,
stuff.
like, don't eat those anyway. That's, like, gross.
Insomnia cookies are pretty good though.
Ugh.
That's a new thing.
Fuck me up. Insomnia cookies are so good.
Yeah.
And I love them. They have them in St. Louis. So I would go.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And then that one wasn't open while I was in Oak Park, and I could have gone there regularly.
Yeah. Just.
And then it opened. So now I have to, like, walk to get there.
Mm.
That's the worst.
You have to walk to get.
To get my cookies.
Wow. I think it's important that you walk and stay active.
Yeah, use the gym.
Use-
Go to the Ritchie
Go
Center.
to the gym. Use the gym. I don't like going to the gym. I'm totally fine being active and exercising. I don't like going to the gym because it's the gym, the DU Coors Fitness Center is.
I also like that it's the Coors Fitness Center. Like Coors is really promoting health as a beer.
Yeah, you want that dad bod, which I don't get the allure of that. But I don't like the gym because it's just a bunch of these broy guys lifting weights that I certainly can't match. I am so weak and small compared to them, and I hate going to the gym because, white male fragility is real. So I joined the ladies up on the treadmill and the
ellipticals.
The elliptical. That I don't go on the treadmill. I don't run, but I certainly go on the elliptical. Last time I was at the gym last year.
Last year. Interesting.
Yes. Have we talked our hockey team? I don't know. Is our hockey team? Who are they? You don't see them.
Yeah,
They're all in the business school.
You see them like at their games and then not in the real world.
I've never you probably will never meet a hockey player.
They have parties. Don't they? I don't know.
Does hockey have? I've always heard there's a
hockey party.
Hockey party, and I've never.
I don't think I've ever.
One.
Yeah.
I always hear about there's a hockey party happening, and I've never been.
I think we've made plans to go, and then they get diverted.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's actually never a hockey party.
That's very possible.
And
it's
they just
say
that
fake.
So they can think they're cool. Oh wait, no. Who's the guy who beat Russia? Troy?
What are you talking about?
We do have one hockey. We do have one player on the team who was on the Junior Olympics and beat the Russian hockey team in a shootout. So we do have patriots on our team.
We do have patriots.
So that's a super positive that I appreciate about the hockey team. What I don't like about it's not the hockey team but the hockey games per se is that the DU student body suddenly becomes the most sexist and racist. Well, becomes.
I know. I was gonna say. I think it just lets out the animal.
Our chants are pretty disappointing, and that's not even from a PC. That's not even a PC perspective, but it's just really, it perpetuates rape culture. If you want to put it in that way. I don't even remember
the chants.
They're really gross, and I'm not going to repeat them.
That's good. You shouldn't.
But that is one issue, freshmen. Please don't be a changing factor. Don't perpetuate that sort of shit. Anyway. Let's talk clubs. Are you in any clubs?
I just started with the Global Brigades on campus, which I think is a mix with it's Globe Med and all sorts of different organizations on campus that work with the international community to provide what's needed there. So I know last year for spring break they went to Nicaragua for clean water and sanitation assistance for local populations, which is really cool. I mean, there are a ton of clubs on campus. I'm pretty sure you can even start one if there's nothing that you think you want to join. Mm-hmm. I know that our Queer Student Alliance is pretty active. They're always holding events and trying to make sure the entire campus is involved. They're super awesome. There's, oh my gosh, there's so much. Black Student Alliance, Asian Student Alliance. There's, you can do, I think there's an anime club.
Yes, there is.
There's all sorts of stuff.
So we're talking about these student alliances for minority students or students of color. And while they have these clubs and these spaces, how do you think our campus is, how do you think our student body acts out inclusive excellence as we preach it? Do you
I think that is a tough subject.
So for incoming freshman students of color, I'm sorry, but this might be a tough ride.
Yeah. Yeah. It really feels often like the administration has a lack of, I don't know if it's like concern or just like general unawareness. Like, that's not even a word, but like I don't even know what's going on. There have been so many incidents on campus where the administration could come out and literally just say like Black Lives Matter, and like that would change the conversation, and they just choose to remain silent or to say like this is a safe space for everyone when clearly it's not. Like, students of color, minorities are attacked on this campus all the time, and like not even in blatant ways. It's like people can hide behind the free speech wall where they never have to claim that they wrote it. And then the administration is like, well, it's a free speech wall. Like, do we really need to talk about it? And you're like, yeah, you do. That's your job. I think that a lot of people are really trying to make it a more inclusive and excellent space. There's just so much more work to do. And I mean, I also don't think that that's limited to this campus. I think that they're like, just as a country, we have so much left to do, even in our dialogue. But yeah, that is something I hope will change while you are here.
Yes, I think the one thing that I've seen over my 4 years here now is student activism has gone through the roof. The Black Student Alliance really kicked it into gear last year with all the issues regarding the wall and attacks on students of color. So freshmen, you might have a rough ride. You might be frustrated in a lot of classes and a lot of discussions, but know that the ball is in your court. Use it. Use your voice. Don't let them silence you. You have a lot of support.
Absolutely.
I've never seen the DU student body so mobilized before until last year. So that energy, that momentum is still with you, and I think that's
really positive. Yeah.
A positive note in the darkness of that, but overall, anyway, I guess we can switch. We can pivot on moods. I think we can wrap up generally here, but any last words for the freshmen? Anything that they should know?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I think we've covered everything, haven't we?
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap up here. Freshmen, I hope you got a lot out of this conversation. I know I did. Chrissy, thank you for joining.
Yeah, anytime.
So next we are talking sports, and our sports editor Nikky Johnson is joining us to tell us about Pioneer Athletics. Nikky, thank you for joining. So how are DU's teams doing this fall?
Well, they're doing all right. Men's soccer hadn't lost a regular season game in 2 years, but they started this weekend with a 3-3 record, so they already had 3 losses on their belt when they came into the weekend. On Friday, they beat UC Davis 3-0, but added another loss on Saturday to St. Mary's 1-0. Volleyball is doing a lot better than soccer. Their record is 8-3, and they swept Gonzaga in 3 games this weekend. The key players of that game were Kayla Principato, Becca Latham, and Cassie Bard. The women's soccer also had a rough weekend as they lost to the CU Buffs 6-1. But there is a lax game this Saturday at 1 p.m., so come out and support your men's lacrosse team.
Very cool. Thank you, Nikky.
Yeah.
Have you, do you cover the soccer games? Have you been?
I haven't been to one this year.
Okay.
But I do have faith in them. I'm
Okay.
excited to see them do better.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that I'm a big men's soccer fan.
Oh, we all know that.
Yes, and we went to the Final Four last year, so I hope we can get our mojo back and at least keep it strong through conference play.
Me too.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining, Nikky. We are wrapping up with some movie reviews, and executive editor Ryan Ninesling has come to share some thoughts on 2 of the latest horror offerings. So Ryan, I've seen It, but let's hear your thoughts on Mother first.
So, Mother is the latest movie from director Darren Aronofsky, who is really well known for Black Swan, Requiem for a Dream. His last movie was Noah, was pretty mainstream for him. Still a really weird take on kind of an old biblical tale, but that was probably the most mainstream movie he's made. And then he's come out with this movie, Mother, starring Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem, as well as Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer make pretty big appearances as well. This is a total step back in the weird art house direction for him. It is being marketed as kind of a haunted house, strangers in the
Horror
house
movie,
type
yeah.
conventional horror movie,
Okay.
which it is not at all. It's causing a lot of controversy already. It's already been, you know, big kind of online essays and stuff written about it, and it was in the news a lot over the weekend because it got the coveted scare quote F cinema score, which is when moviegoers who go on premiere day, they do surveys as they come out and ask what they like, give it a rating, and the average score was an F. When I went to see it, there were quite a few people walking out
Interesting.
near the end of the movie. It is a very controversial movie. Basically, the premise is none of the characters have names. There's no spoken names. So there's this woman played by Jennifer Lawrence. She lives in a house in the middle of nowhere with her much older poet husband, who's played by Javier Bardem. They kind of just live out this kind of idyllic existence in this house. She's trying to restore the house, and he is trying to work on his next big piece. And then their life is kind of thrown into chaos when he basically allows this stranger, played by Ed Harris, into the house, and then his wife shows up, and then more and more people show up, and then it gets crazier and crazier until the movie ends, basically. Basically, the whole thing is an allegory for, like, Mother Earth, the relationship between Mother Earth and God, and humanity and Mother Earth and God,
Interesting.
which is an interesting concept,
Okay.
but it's very, in my opinion, very heavy-handed, very on the nose. Doesn't take a whole lot of thinking to really get this movie. I feel like people were very confused by it, but only because it was not what they expected. I mean, it takes a quick Google search to see what this movie's about if you don't get it. And it takes about 5 seconds to be like, oh, okay. It's just very, very on the nose. In the review I wrote for the paper, I kind of likened it to an art student trying to piss his parents off. It has this edgy idea, right? Which is
Yeah.
like God is a narcissist and humanity is in his image. So we're a bunch of narcissists and we destroy everything and we don't care about Mother Earth and we're destroying the Earth, right? So there's like a climate change element in there
I
as
like
well.
that idea.
It takes that kind of this edgy idea, which is interesting,
Uh-huh.
and then it doesn't go any deeper than that. It just kind of puts that out there and then expects you to be like, wow, that's brilliant. The movie wants you to think it's very smart.
Okay.
It's not very smart. It kind of just lessens the proceedings to kind of a grotesque performance piece. It's gonna piss a lot of people off, people who haven't seen it already, who do see it. I mean, there's cannibalism and there's violence and there's weird sex and it's just very strange and it all kind of just happens out of nowhere and it's really weird. But again, I appreciated it for how bold it was
Okay.
and the fact that this was made by not only a major studio but a major American studio.
Yeah.
I mean, Paramount just bankrolled this thing, and they pushed other things out of the way to get it made. Like, they were going to reboot Friday the 13th. They pushed that out of the way for this and all this stuff to get this movie made, and it is out there. I mean, it is probably the boldest movie that I've seen this year.
Okay.
However, it doesn't make up for the fact that it's kind of blundering.
It falls a little flat.
It falls a little flat. It just doesn't, it feels very smug.
Okay. How are the performances?
I personally think Jennifer Lawrence is a little overrated,
Okay.
and I think this movie again, she's there. To me, she's very flat in it. Part of that I feel like is the script's fault.
Okay.
Again, the movie wants to be this smart allegory, but the dialogue is really flat. It's really simplistic, and not in the good way either. I don't have a problem with that in minimalist films, but in this case, it just doesn't work with how heady the ideas are. The characters are really uneven, especially Javier Bardem's character is all over the place.
Okay.
Which that might be intentional, but again, it just doesn't work for me personally. He's probably out of everybody, he's probably the best, Javier Bardem.
Okay.
He really rolls with it, and he has to do a lot of different kind of personas. He's the loving husband, but he's also a little bit menacing at parts, and he's also, again, when he's a bit of a narcissist, and
Yeah.
it's 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 funny because the way he portrays it is he's kind of a gaslighter.
Okay.
Like, he basically gaslights Jennifer Lawrence constantly throughout the movie, being like, oh, this is your fault, or it's not me, it's you, or
Yeah.
like, why are you getting mad at me type thing. So it's interesting how it's portrayed. I mean, I think the performances are as good as they could be with the script,
Yeah.
but Jennifer Lawrence in particular, I'm still not sold on her as a big star. I think she needs a couple more roles before I can really.
I think she needs to play a few more roles in her age range.
Yeah, she's very.
I think she's a little. I like her a lot as a performer, and I think she could be more effective with more roles for women in their 20s, rather than she's playing the wife of an older man. She's in Joy. She
Yeah.
plays a mother.
Yeah, she does play these very like
She plays
virginal type.
she plays older
Young,
women, and she
yeah.
plays out of her age range, and I don't know. I feel like there's older actresses who could probably bring a bit more pathos and a bit more life experience to roles that she
Yeah,
doesn't
Yeah.
have yet, and that's okay. But I
Yeah,
think she
so-
can. She's always, for me, she's a very strong performer, but I think she needs to age a little more, and hopefully people don't forget about her simply because she's aged.
right,
But that's
exactly.
Hollywood for you.
Yeah, you run into that kind of sexist.
Because I think she'll be a
Hollywood.
great performer. I think she's a great performer, and I think she can continue that.
Who are these people?
They've come here to see me.
Come quick! You're insane! God help you.
Anyway, let's talk about It, Stephen
Oh,
King's, the new adaptation from Stephen King's novel. This covers the first half of
Yeah,
Stephen
so
King's
this is
novel.
when they're all kids. The Losers Club is
Mm-hmm.
still in their childhood years,
Yeah.
which I think is a very smart choice. Usually, I'm very skeptical of movies that are made with a sequel in mind. Mm-hmm. In this case, I mean, the novel's a doorstop. It's over 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
So I think in this case it was a smart choice to kind of isolate that story and kind of bring it to life in the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
I think it sets up a lot of expectations for the second half that I don't think the second half will be able to meet. A lot of people feel like the adult half of the novel is not nearly as good as the child half of the novel, so I'll be interested to see if that translates to film
I have
as well.
I've not heard that.
Yeah.
But that's a good. I mean, I had a great time with this movie. This was quite the opener
Yeah,
of a franchise, if anything.
Yeah.
I mean, the sequel has a lot to live up to, and
Mm-hmm.
if what you're saying is true about the adults being a bit less compelling as the kids,
yeah,
then that's interesting. But yeah, the kids were great. I love the
that
kid, all the performers, all the actors. They were really funny. I think they handled the change in tone very well, from being terrified to being funny. It brought a lot of levity, and I had a great time with it.
Yeah, I thought the tone shifts were a little jarring at times. Just because, I mean, obviously, when you're trying to sell this movie, Pennywise is what's selling this movie, right? Like, people
Yeah.
want to see the scary clown. So sometimes it felt a little bit overdone at times. Like, we should focus more on one thing, like either stay with Pennywise a bit longer or stay with the kids a bit longer. But it felt the need to jump back and forth. But overall, you're right. It's very entertaining. Pennywise is what sells the movie.
Yeah.
Bill Skarsgård is absolutely brilliant.
Oh,
He's this
really fun.
twitchy, weird, it's very physical, and
Yeah.
I thought Tim Curry was great in the miniseries. I think Skarsgård blows him out of the water, though, here. He just, everything about it, from the voice, he's got this lispy, nasty, like, you can
Drooly.
like
It's-
gross, and he does that weird smile that he's been showing off on all the talk shows lately. It just works really well, and
Yeah.
the thing is like, he's funny in a way,
Oh, yeah.
and he's chilling in a way, but like, the main thing is he hates these kids. He really hates them, and like, he sells that very well. There's a scene in particular where they're all together. It's the first time they all try to fight him together, and they're in the house. And it's the scene that he has the most dialogue in the whole movie, other than maybe the Georgie scene. At
Yeah, the
beginning.
opener, which...
Which is absolutely great way
Opener.
to set it up.
Wait, what an
Yeah,
oper!
yeah.
I was not expecting that. I'm
Yeah,
like,
the trailers
what?
have not even prepared you. For
Absolutely set
how
a tone for
excellent-
the movie, how
Yeah.
the first 5 minutes went, and I was like, okay,
Yeah,
what
great
a punch
opener.
to the gut.
But he has a ton of in that scene where they try to fight him for the first time. He has tons of dialogue, and he really sells it. And he is absolutely terrifying in that scene, and all the kids do a great job of reacting to him. So he's the selling point. But the nice thing about this movie, which makes the movie really work, is the Losers Club is really the heart of this movie, and it's this really great, kind of Stand By Me, Stranger Things last year type of coming of age story that works really well. It works just as well as it did in the novel. I think all the kids are great. The standouts are easily, the main standout is Finn Wolfhand as Richie. He's the kind of brash, kind of motor mouth, joking kid.
Oh, the one who makes all the your mom jokes.
Yeah, he is
in the
fantastic.
glasses. He was funny.
And
he
the
was
casting
very
is
funny.
fantastic because his character Mike on Stranger Things is the complete opposite. He's this really kind of withdrawn, sensitive. He does have moments of like intense emotion on that show, but like he's very much kind of a, very like courageous but very sheltered, kind of in himself, unsure of himself type kid. And then you have Richie, who's this very like almost antagonist. Like he's everybody's friend. He's not a bad kid, but he's like he's always
just the
pushing
dick
everyone's
of the
buttons.
group.
Yeah, he's like the asshole of the group, and he really sells it. He's really
he
good.
was so. Oh, I laughed out. It is hilarious. I
Yeah.
laughed out loud.
Yes, the movie is
Plenty.
very funny. From the kids to Pennywise to some of the adult interactions that they have. It is a very funny movie, and that just adds to the entertainment. Eddie Kazbreck, the hypochondriac kid, he's played by Jack Dylan Grazer. He's also very funny.
He is.
He plays off the Richie character really well.
The chemistry overall. The kids
between
are
the
so
whole
good.
group is really good. I thought the romance, which they really upped from the book, was a little on the
It was
nose.
a little forced. I was a little uncomfortable because, like, I don't remember her name, but the girl, Bev.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Beverly. Yeah, she had these issues with her father, but then she was also dealing with romantic issues. So I think it was hard for me, or at least from what I saw, they were trying to toe a line to sexualize her and not, and it came off.
It's a little awkward.
I was a little unsure with that one.
And like
with that
it's
aspect of the
really
film.
amped up from the book. Like especially the storyline with her and like her father being abusive. It's kind of only hinted at in the book, and here it is really prominently on display. And also with the kind of little love triangle within the group, that's really prominently on display as well. Interestingly, despite that, a big source of conversation around the movie was there's a scene in the book that is infamous where all the kids have an orgy.
The kids have an orgy.
Yeah,
like these middle schoolers
yeah,
have an
these
orgy.
like preteen kids, and it's been for years been like, why did Stephen King put this in the book? They kind of defeat it.
Okay, so it's towards the
end, and
Okay,
they're all
tell
kind
me.
of disoriented,
right.
and they're lost in the sewers. And to kind of bring them out of their senses, Bev has sex with everybody in the group. It's very weird, and it kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's never resonant. And Andy Muschietti, who directed the this adaptation, said it was actually in the first draft of the script, which Cary Fukunaga wrote.
Yeah.
Cary Fukunaga was known for True Detective, which is a really dark show. He included it, but when they brought in Andy Muschietti, and I don't remember who the other screenwriter is, to rewrite the first draft, they cut it out because Andy Muschietti was like, I'm on the boat with most people in that. That scene doesn't resonate with me at all. I feel like it's pointless, so we did not want to include it in the movie. So it's interesting that they did toe that line. We're like, okay, well, they do sexualize Bev a little bit because they are preteens, and that's part of growing up and puberty, and then they wanted to have that dark adult. All the adults in this film are assholes. Like,
Yes.
that's kind of a point in the book as well. Is that when you're growing up, like, especially in the time, the book is set in the 50s, but the movie's set in the 80s, and I think it still works. Kind of updating it, and that's because they want to have the modern sequel.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Some of the references are a little on the nose, like the New Kids on the Block, and they're trying to really hard to be like, this is the 80s. But it was funny,
was on the
though.
nose, but at the same time, I liked the music choices.
Yeah, the
And
music choices work really well.
At
for
the same
story.
time, yeah, it worked for me.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, they changed a lot of things to kind of toe the line in the movie, but at the same time, I respected that they cut that scene out.
Yeah.
And Sophia Lillis, who plays Bev, is fantastic.
Oh, she's so good.
She really, for a young actress, she really has an incredible range. I mean, she goes from this, like, kind of spunky, one of the boys type thing to where the scene in particular where every kid in the group has their kind of nightmare scene where they interact with it in a different form.
Her nightmare scene is
And hers is the most grotesque, probably.
Yeah.
And she does a great job of selling it. She's really emotional in the scene and really, like, terrified.
Oh, yeah.
And she does a great job. So, yeah, she's kind of... Her and then Bill, who's the lead character, he's on a kind of a quest of vengeance because his little brother is killed in the beginning of the film. Famously, as we've seen in all the trailers and everything.
Yes.
He's kind of on a quest for vengeance. They're kind of the emotional heart of the film. I think she does better. I think outside of the three that I mentioned, which would be Bev, Eddie, and Richie, the other kids, they aren't given a ton to do, which is fine. I mean, it's only a 2-hour movie. You can only... I think... But as part of the group, they do really well. I think Jaden Laborer, who plays Bill, is going to be one of those kids who goes on to have a great career. He was fantastic last year in Midnight Special. He was the lead in that.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's
he was
really
fantastic
cool.
in that movie. He's very good in this movie. He's a very mature actor for his age, so I think he's going to go on. But yeah, Ben, who's the overweight kid, Stan, the Jewish kid, and then Mike, who is the kind of out-of-towner, African-American.
homeschooled
Yeah, the
kid.
homeschool kid, so he's kind of an outcast as well. They aren't given a ton to do,
Yeah.
but apparently Andy Muschietti's talked about how they have expanded roles in the adult portion.
Sure.
So I'll be interested to see how that pans out. But they're very good in the group dynamic.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the adult version pans out and who they cast.
Yeah, there's a lot of arguments going on the internet, which is, this movie's a huge hit.
Yeah, so now they're looking to probably get some A-listers.
Yes. Should we get A-listers or should we stick to non? I think it's pretty safe to say they're going to go with A-listers. I mean,
Why not?
I think it's in the bag that Bev is going to be played by Jessica Chastain. Andy Muschietti.
They have worked together before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he made Mama, which was a big hit for her. That was when she was kind of getting big.
Early career.
She was in that. So they're really close. And I mean, younger kid.
Sure.
It's
If
pretty
that would
obvious.
work. I would like to see. She would be cool.
Yeah, she would be cool. A lot of
scary
people. A
clown.
lot of people want Jake Gyllenhaal for older Bill.
Oh, I'd
That's
like
been
that
a
too.
popular.
Oh, the internet is so
The
good at
internet is
casting,
good.
but at the
And
end
that
of the day,
was actually the kids did a thing for I don't remember if it was for EW or for Vanity Fair. They did an interview where they cast themselves.
oh, they picked which actors?
And the Jane Leber, who plays Bill, he also picked Jake Gyllenhaal as his older self, which I think would be great. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is in the prime of his career right
He's
now.
a fantastic actor.
Extremely
one of the
underrated
best
actor.
actors.
Yeah, so
Honestly.
it would be cool to see him. It'll be interesting to see who they... I saw Jordan Peele for Mike, which would be really cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love
Jordan Peele, obviously,
That's great.
high up on the list right now with Get Out last year, or earlier in the year, I should say.
Yeah.
And then just coming fresh off Key and Peele ending, and yeah. So there's a lot of
Fan
speculation.
casting, but I'll leave it to the casting directors.
Yeah,
They knew what they were doing with the kids.
Yeah, they did a great job casting here.
So.
So in the end, I think the movie it definitely lived up to my expectations. I was really hyped for this one.
Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest mainstream movies that I was looking forward to this year. It's kind of created another icon for this generation. I mean, in the 80s, you had Freddy and Jason, and
Now you have Pennywise the Clown.
yeah, Pennywise the Clown is big for this.
It's a real fun movie.
It's very fun.
You scream, you laugh, you might even get a little emotional at the end. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good time at the movies and well worth. I was happy I went.
Yeah, well worth the price of admission.
So, well, Ryan, as always, thank you for talking movies with me.
Oh yeah, of course.
Hopefully we'll be back doing it.
Yeah, I think we'll
Kingsman's
be back
out
doing
next
Kingsman.
week. So
yeah, there's a lot of stuff on the
I'm
horizon.
down for Kingsman.
So, yeah.
Anyway, next week. Thank you.
We all float down here.
I saw something. There was this
Clown. Yeah, I saw him too.
That's it for this week. A new edition of The Clarion will be on newsstands Wednesday, September 20th. I'd like to thank Chrissy Sharp, Nikky Johnson, and Ryan Ninesling for joining. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week.